Have you ever walked into a room and felt invisible? Like you're physically there, but no one actually sees you. They might glance at you, maybe even smile, but you know deep down they're not really present with you. That kind of emptiness, it's a strange pain, isn't it? Because it's not the pain of being hated, it's the pain of being unseen. Now here's the twist. Almost everyone you meet today feels that way. Your customers, your friends, your partner, your team. And yet, most people spend their lives trying to be seen instead of making others feel seen. But here's the secret I discovered. The fastest way to grow influence, wealth, and genuine connection is to make other people feel seen. When you understand this, business stops being about selling and starts being about serving. Relationships stop being about needing and start being about understanding. Because truthfully, you don't attract people by showing them how amazing you are. You attract people by making them feel how amazing they are when they're around you. When I first learned this, I realized how many opportunities I missed. Not because I lacked talent, strategy, or even money, but because I was too focused on me. I was trying to prove something, to show something, to achieve something. But what I didn't realize was this. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. That's when it hit me. Business, leadership, and even life. It's all about awareness. Awareness of others. Awareness of what they feel, what they need, what they're afraid of. The ability to see people beyond the surface is one of the rarest skills in the world. And when you master it, everything changes. You start closing deals not because you're persuasive, but because people feel understood. You start leading teams not because you're loud, but because they trust your presence. You start attracting wealth not because you chase it, but because value naturally flows toward empathy. Let's be honest, we live in a noisy world. Everyone's trying to be noticed, to go viral, to get attention. But here's the paradox. While everyone's busy shouting, the real leaders are the ones who quietly listen. They pay attention to details others ignore. They remember names, they notice effort, they give appreciation without agenda. And that's the foundation of influence. See, wealth is not just about numbers, it's a reflection of how many people you've served at the deepest level. And you can't serve people you don't see. Think about it. The biggest brands in the world don't just sell products, they make people feel known. Apple doesn't sell phones, it sells identity. Nike doesn't sell shoes, it sells purpose. Starbucks doesn't sell coffee, it sells belonging. They built empires around one human need, the need to feel seen. So what happens when you bring that same awareness into your personal world, your business, your relationships? You become magnetic. People feel drawn to you, not because of what you have, but because of how they feel when they're with you. That's why this is not just a nice trait to have, it's a wealth principle. Because when people feel seen, they respond with trust. And trust is the currency that multiplies everything it touches. Money, loyalty, opportunity, even love. I'll be honest, when I first started in business, I didn't get this. I thought success was about effort, not awareness. I thought if I worked harder than everyone else, I'd automatically win. And yes, hard work matters, but awareness multiplies it. You can't serve who you don't understand. You can't influence who you don't notice, and you can't build wealth if you don't value people beyond profit. When you really think about it, making people feel seen is what every human heart is searching for. From the billionaire who built an empire to the street vendor selling bread, they both crave the same thing. To be acknowledged, to be heard, to be valued. And once you realize that, everything shifts. Because now you stop chasing people's approval and start giving them presence. In this video, I want to show you exactly why the ability to make people feel seen is not just emotional intelligence, it's spiritual intelligence. It's the bridge between serving and succeeding, between connection and conversion, between attention and abundance. And I'll share with you how this one principle has helped me grow not just relationships, but also business opportunities, partnerships, and peace of mind. Because making people feel seen doesn't just change them, it transforms you. It's the start of influence, the root of leadership, and one of the purest paths to wealth that doesn't require manipulation or force, just awareness and heart. So stay with me, because in the next few moments, we'll uncover why seeing others clearly is the first step toward being seen by the world. And when you master that, wealth becomes the natural consequence of love in action. When we talk about making people feel seen, most people think it means giving compliments, saying nice things, or being extra polite. But that's not it. Making people feel seen isn't about flattery. It's about awareness. It's presence. It's the ability to look at someone and actually recognize who they are, not just what they do. Because when you truly see someone, you're not focusing on their performance. You're connecting with their personhood. You're not just reacting to what's obvious, you're perceiving what's invisible. Their energy, their effort, their emotion. Those are the things people long for others to notice. See, most of the world is transactional. What can I get? What can you give me? What's in it for me? That's how most interactions happen. But when you enter a space with awareness, when you take time to genuinely understand someone without agenda, it's like oxygen to the soul. You remind people they matter, and that's what makes you unforgettable. It's not about what you say, it's about what you see. You see the person who shows up early, but never gets acknowledged. You see the customer who keeps coming back, but no one ever thanks. You see the employee whose effort doesn't always show in results, but whose consistency keeps the business alive. You see the partner who's been patient in silence, not asking for attention, but deserving of it. That's awareness, and awareness builds connection. In business, this is everything, because people don't buy products, they buy connection. They buy how you make them feel. A product might meet their need, but an experience meets their soul. And the only way to create that experience is to make them feel seen. That's why some businesses succeed without the best prices or the fanciest packaging, because they know how to make people feel known. The barista who remembers your order, the seller who messages you after your purchase just to ask, "How was it?" The entrepreneur who listens more than they pitch. These are the people who win, not just financially, but emotionally and spiritually. Making people feel seen is leadership. It's sales. It's influence. It's ministry. It's the difference between saying thank you for buying and saying thank you for trusting me. It's the difference between what do you want and what's important to you. It's the difference between trying to close a sale and trying to open a relationship. When you live with this kind of awareness, people remember you, not because you impressed them, but because you understood them. And here's the beauty. You don't have to force this. You just have to slow down. Most people can't make others feel seen because they're moving too fast, too focused on results, too distracted by their own noise, too busy trying to be noticed. But awareness comes from stillness. The slower you become inside, the more sensitive you get to what's around you. That's how discernment works. In the same way that God sees you, not by what you produce, but by who you are, you begin to see others through that same lens. You see value where others see nothing. You see potential where others see failure. You see stories where others see strangers. That's why this principle is not just emotional. It's spiritual. Because when you see people the way God sees them, you start operating in divine awareness. And when you bring that awareness into business, everything multiplies. Your customers don't just buy, they belong. Your team doesn't just follow, they believe. Your community doesn't just engage, they connect. That's what separates shallow success from deep impact. Because in the end, people won't always remember your brand, your speech, or your pitch, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. And that, right there, is the foundation of lasting wealth. It's the wealth of trust, the wealth of loyalty, the wealth of human connection that no algorithm or automation can replicate. So the next time you talk to a customer, a friend, or even a stranger, don't just hear their words. Listen between them. Don't just look at what they do. Notice what it costs them to do it. That's how you make people feel seen. And that awareness, when practiced daily, will do more for your business, your relationships, and your peace than any marketing strategy ever could. Because when you truly see people, heaven sees you. When you can make people feel seen, you don't just create connection, you create trust. And trust is the foundation of all wealth. Because trust is influence, and influence is income. You see, money doesn't flow to talent, it flows to trust. You might have the best product, the best service, or even the best strategy in the market, but if people don't trust you, they won't buy from you. They might admire you, but they won't commit. That's the silent gap between visibility and wealth. Connection without trust produces noise, but connection with trust produces income. Making people feel seen is how you bridge that gap. When someone feels seen by you, something powerful happens inside them. They lower their guard. They begin to open up. They allow you into the most valuable real estate in the world, their mind and their heart. That's where influence lives. That's where decisions are made. Think about it. Every great salesperson, leader, or brand doesn't just talk to people, they understand people. They speak directly to the part of you that says, finally, someone gets me. And when you do that, you no longer need to chase opportunity. Opportunity starts finding you. That's why this principle isn't just emotional intelligence, it's spiritual intelligence, because it's the same law that heaven operates on. Look at the life of Jesus. Everywhere he went, he stopped for people others ignored. The blind man no one noticed, the woman who touched his robe, the tax collector up in a tree, the sinner caught in shame. He saw them all. And what did they do? They followed him. Not because of miracles alone, but because he made them feel seen. That's why his ministry grew. It wasn't through marketing, it was through meaning. The power of seeing others creates transformation, because being seen affirms existence. It tells a person, you matter, you belong, you're worth noticing. And that message is more valuable than money. It's the reason people spend money. In business, people buy emotionally and justify logically. They might say they bought your product because it's affordable or high quality, but deep down, they bought it because something about your brand, your words, or your presence made them feel understood. That's how wealth really works. You don't get paid for what you sell. You get paid for how deeply you connect. It's why two people can sell the same product, but one barely survives while the other thrives. The thriving one knows how to make others feel seen. They know that attention isn't just about getting eyes on you, it's about opening hearts toward you. This is what most people miss. They think the secret to wealth is strategy, timing, or capital. But the real secret is sensitivity. Can you feel the need behind someone's words? Can you notice the desire they can't express? Can you see the potential in someone who's still doubting themselves? That's the kind of awareness that multiplies everything it touches. Even in your relationships, your partnerships, your collaborations, people don't leave because of opportunity. They leave because of invisibility. They leave when they stop feeling seen. And when you grasp this, you'll realize wealth doesn't come from chasing people. It comes from serving people. It's like watering a plant. You don't force it to grow, you just nurture it consistently, and growth happens naturally. When you make people feel seen, you're watering the soil of their trust. You're nourishing connection. And in time, that trust blooms into loyalty, referrals, and growth. That's why real wealth isn't just financial, it's relational. The deeper your ability to connect, the greater your capacity to prosper. Even in Scripture, this principle echoes through every story of prosperity. Abraham was called a friend of God. Joseph prospered because of his favor with Pharaoh. David had mighty men who would die for him, not because he paid them, but because they believed in him. And belief comes from being seen. So ask yourself, how many people in your life feel seen by you? Your team, your customers, your family? Because your ability to multiply wealth is tied directly to your ability to multiply trust. If trust is influence and influence is income, then awareness is the seed that grows both. That's why making people feel seen is not just a soft skill, it's a divine skill. It's how you activate favor in business and in life. Because the moment you stop trying to impress people and start seeing people, everything changes. Doors open that effort alone could never unlock. People start mentioning your name in rooms you've never entered. Opportunities start appearing in places you didn't expect. And that's not luck. That's the law of awareness. Heaven responds to how you treat others. When you see people, God starts letting others see you. That's why making people feel seen is the real secret to wealth. It's not about manipulation, it's about reflection. When you reflect God's heart toward others, you attract His hand toward your life. Because at the end of the day, success doesn't start with what you do, it starts with how you see. There are 3 deep layers to seeing people. and each one multiplies the impact of your awareness in life, business, and leadership. The first is seeing their struggle. Most people only pay attention to what others show, not what they carry. But when you slow down and really see someone struggle, you connect with their humanity. You start noticing the tiredness in your employee's eyes, the hesitation in a customer's tone, or the quiet frustration in your partner's silence. You begin to sense the story behind the surface. In business, that awareness becomes your competitive advantage. Because when you understand someone's pain point better than they can articulate it, they automatically trust you. That's why empathy is one of the most profitable skills in the world. It turns compassion into clarity. When people feel that you understand their struggle, they don't just buy from you, they believe in you. Seeing someone struggle doesn't mean you have to fix it. Sometimes just acknowledging it gives them strength. Because when pain is recognized, it starts to lose its power. The second layer is seeing their potential. This is where true leadership begins. Anyone can point out what's wrong with someone, but very few have the eyes to see what's right in them before it's visible. Seeing potential means you speak to the version of a person that's not yet visible to the world. You treat them not as who they are right now, but as who they could become. That's what great mentors, leaders, and even brands do. They reflect a higher image back to people until they begin to believe it themselves. Think about it. When Jesus looked at Peter, he didn't see a fisherman. He saw a foundation. When he looked at Saul, he didn't see a persecutor. He saw a preacher. When he looked at you, he didn't see your failures. He saw your future. That's what it means to see potential. To look beyond current performance and call forth destiny. In business, this changes everything. Instead of seeing your customers as buyers, you see them as believers. Instead of seeing your employees as workers, you see them as co-builders. And that shift doesn't just inspire, it transforms. Because when someone feels like you see greatness in them, they rise to meet it. People perform not according to what you demand, but according to what you see in them. And the third layer is seeing their value. This is where it all connects, the heart of awareness. To see someone's value is to honor what they bring now, not just what they could bring in the future. It's easy to love potential, but real connection begins when you can appreciate the present. Every person you meet carries something valuable, an experience, a story, a perspective, a gift. But most of the time, they don't even recognize it themselves. The world moves too fast to pause for gratitude. Yet when you take a moment to acknowledge someone's value, when you say, "I see what you did," or "I appreciate your effort," you do more than compliment them. You validate them. Validation is the fuel of growth. When people feel valued, they show up differently. They become loyal, creative, and confident. That's why gratitude is one of the highest forms of awareness. It doesn't just make others feel seen, it multiplies what's already good in them. Now imagine what happens when you start living with all three layers working together. You see someone struggle, so you connect with empathy. You see their potential, so you inspire growth. You see their value, so you cultivate loyalty. That's how you build deep relationships and lasting wealth. Because awareness, when practiced like this, becomes magnetic. People want to be around someone who truly sees them. They feel safer, understood, and energized. And when people feel that around you, they follow you, buy from you, and support you, not because they have to, but because they want to. That's how opportunities start appearing seemingly out of nowhere. Because the truth is, opportunity doesn't find busy people, it finds aware people. Awareness lets you perceive needs before they're spoken, sense timing before it's announced, and notice value before it's popular. That's what makes this principle so powerful. It attracts collaboration, loyalty, and favor in every direction. People will go out of their way to work with someone who truly sees them. Teams will go the extra mile for a leader who believes in them. Customers will stay loyal to a brand that makes them feel appreciated. And all of that begins with awareness. Not strategy, not luck, not marketing. Just awareness. When you learn to see people on all three layers, their struggle, their potential, and their value, you stop trying to get ahead of others and start helping others rise with you. And that's where real wealth begins. Not in what you gain, but in what you grow in others. Because in the end, Every business, every calling, and every relationship thrives on one truth. People may forget your words, but they will never forget the way you saw them. The law of reciprocity is one of the most powerful and invisible laws of increase. It governs not only money and success, but also energy, influence, and favor. When you make others feel seen, heaven sees you. That single principle carries a spiritual and energetic weight most people overlook, because the moment you give awareness, you give life. You acknowledge another soul's existence, and that acknowledgement vibrates outward and returns to you multiplied. It's the law of sowing and reaping in motion. Every time you honor, encourage, or validate someone, you plant something spiritual. You send out an energy that the universe and God Himself cannot ignore. And just like a farmer never worries about whether his seed will grow, you don't have to worry about when it will come back. It always returns, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Awareness is like that. You can't outgive it. The more you give, the more it comes back through unexpected forms. Support, referrals, opportunities, connections, open doors, and divine timing. It's not coincidence, it's currency. Because awareness creates energy flow. When people feel seen by you, they subconsciously want to give back. They'll tell others about you, help you when you least expect it, and think of you when opportunity arises. It's as if life itself starts moving in your favor. The Bible says, "Give, and it shall be given unto you." That doesn't only mean money. It means attention, kindness, effort, and presence. Whatever you give multiplies, because the act of giving makes you more aligned with the nature of God Himself, the ultimate giver. And that's why awareness is so powerful. It doesn't just make you magnetic to people, it makes you magnetic to heaven. When you make others feel seen, you step into divine alignment with how God sees you. He notices you noticing others. He blesses those who bless His creation. He multiplies those who multiply light. So if you've been wondering why your business feels stagnant, why relationships seem dry, or why you keep working hard with little result, check where your awareness is going. Because awareness determines flow. Are you seeing people or just transactions? Are you building connection or just chasing conversion? Energy follows intention. If your heart is to truly serve, to make people feel understood and valued, then what you give starts creating spiritual debt in your favor. Heaven owes you a return. Think about how powerful that is. Every smile, every compliment, every time you pause to listen instead of react, you're making an invisible deposit into the account of divine favor. And when it matures, the return doesn't just come through money, it comes through people, timing, opportunities, and peace. In business, that's how referrals happen effortlessly. That's why people start recommending you without you asking. It's why customers become fans and fans become ambassadors, because they remember how you made them feel. And in life, that's how favor works. The more light you shine on others, the more God shines on you. When Jesus said, "It is more blessed to give than to receive," He wasn't just teaching generosity, He was describing a universal law. Giving aligns you with divine energy. And awareness is one of the most precious gifts you can ever give, because it doesn't cost money. It costs presence. The more presence you give, the more power you gain. And over time, that power compounds. The people you made feel seen today will remember you years from now. They'll open doors you didn't even know existed. They'll speak your name in rooms you've never entered. That's what happens when you live with awareness. It comes back in ways that feel like miracles, but are actually laws in motion. You see, most people want favor without sowing presence. They want recognition without giving attention. They want loyalty without giving appreciation. But you can't receive what you're not willing to give first. So if you want abundance, start giving awareness. If you want loyalty, start giving appreciation. If you want favor, start giving kindness. Because everything you want is waiting for you to mirror it first. That's why awareness is the highest currency. It creates an exchange between heaven and earth. When you make others feel seen, God Himself says, "I see you." And when heaven sees you, nothing can hide your light. Opportunities begin to unfold, relationships deepen, and resources start flowing. Not because you hustled harder, but because you aligned higher. So never underestimate the quiet power of presence. Every moment you choose to see someone fully, to hear them, to honor them, You're participating in a divine economy where giving multiplies infinitely. You don't chase wealth in this system. You attract it. You don't fight for recognition. You're revealed through resonance. You don't compete for space. You expand through service. Because heaven doesn't reward accumulation. It rewards awareness. And awareness is the one thing you can never run out of. The more you share it, the richer you become. When I look back at how this principle worked in my own life, I can trace most of my business growth to one thing: genuine care. When I stopped treating people like transactions and started seeing them as stories, everything shifted. In my bread business, I used to think success came from having the best product or the lowest price. But one day, I realized something simple yet powerful. People don't just buy bread. They buy how they feel when they buy it. They buy the warmth, the familiarity, the memory attached to it. So instead of focusing only on sales, I started listening. I'd ask customers about their families, how their day was going, or which flavor reminded them of home. Some shared that they were buying for their kids, others for an elderly parent, and a few just wanted to treat themselves after a long day. And that's when I understood. Business is not about selling. It's about serving stories. The more I did that, the more they returned. Some began referring friends. Others started messaging just to ask when new stocks would arrive. It wasn't about the bread anymore. It was about connection. I made them feel seen, and in return, they made the business grow. The same happened in my affiliate journey. When I stopped chasing sales and started helping people understand why the product could actually help them, they didn't feel sold. They felt understood. That awareness made everything multiply. Sales, loyalty, even trust. Because when people feel seen, they don't just transact, they transform into advocates. And here's what I learned through it all. Making people feel seen isn't just kindness, it's strategy. It's one of the most powerful forms of influence you can ever develop. In a noisy world where everyone's trying to be noticed, the one who listens becomes the leader. The one who sees others clearly becomes the person others want to follow. You don't need to shout louder, you just need to see deeper. Because awareness is magnetic, connection is currency, and presence is profit. So whether you're running a business, building a brand, leading a team, or simply trying to grow as a person, remember this. If you can make others feel seen, heaven will make sure you're never unseen. Because every time you lift others, the universe lifts you higher.